Oh yeah, what's up everybody? Have you ever wondered why natives always seem to speak so quickly? Well actually, when you think about fast speech in English, it's the fact that English is a stressed timed language, meaning that some syllables are stressed and others aren't. So this makes English a rhythmical language, and in today's lesson, I'm going to tell you some easy to apply tips so that you can sound and feel more natural and confident when you speak English. We're going to learn contractions, we're going to learn linking sounds, and we're going to learn sentence stress. And the best part is, I'm going to ask you to practice with me as we go through. And right at the end, I have a really special surprise for you. So make sure you watch all of this video to check out what that surprise is. Do you sometimes feel that you don't sound as natural as you can when you speak English? Well, I want to tell you that every week we help you understand fast native speech, be understood by anyone, and connect to the world. Just ask Tamara, who says that our channel is now part of her bedtime ritual. So join Tamara and support me and the team at Real Life English. All you need to do is hit that subscribe button and the bell down below so you don't miss any of our new lessons. We have some breaking news out of a fast food restaurant in Washington, D.C. An unidentified exchange student was in McDonald's when a team member asked him, "What would you like?" The exchange student was confident because he'd practiced many times before in his head. He replied, "I'll have a Sprite, please." He'd been waiting a while when his name was called. After getting his order, he was shocked to realize that he hadn't ordered a Sprite, but instead he was given a large fries. That same afternoon, he was admitted to hospital due to an allergic reaction to nightshades. We spoke to the restaurant manager, who prefers to remain anonymous, and he said,
"We didn't know this would happen. I guess he was afraid of losing face, so he didn't say anything. Had he asked, we'd have certainly replaced his order."
Well, a lesson learned for our friend. Next time you order a Sprite, make sure you get a Sprite. This is Ollie, reporting live from Real Life English headquarters. What would you do in this situation? Would you keep the fries, or would you go back and get your Sprite like you asked for? If you're like me, then you have lots of these funny stories to tell. And in fact, if I told you all of my stories, we'd be here for days. So my first tip to speak English faster is to use contractions. Now, you probably know that contractions are a combination of two or more words. So contract means to make smaller, and you probably remember your first English lessons where you learned the verb to be, and you were probably taught the contractions. You're thinking, why do I need to learn the full form and the contraction as well? Well, truth is, we use contractions a lot. We use contractions in every single context. And quite often, I get asked by learners if contractions are too informal to use in real-life conversations. And the answer to that is no. If you watch the news, listen to podcasts, go to a restaurant and talk to the waiter, or even talk to your friends at a barbecue, you're going to hear contractions all the time. Truth is, they are a part of real-life conversations and real-life speech. For example, instead of saying, "Do not play with the dog," we'd say, "Don't play with the dog." However, the only time where it's not okay to use contractions is if you're writing a formal email or you're in a job interview. In fact, Ethan made a great lesson with common job interview questions, so you can check out that lesson when you finish watching this one. So often, learners know how to recognize contractions, but they actually won't use them. For example, "I've been to Brazil" is contracted with I and the auxiliary have. However, I often hear learners pronounce this like, "I have been to Brazil." So I recommend if you see a contraction, pronounce the contraction. That way you're going to be able to speak English a lot faster. In a contraction, the apostrophe takes the place of some of the letters. Now let's go and look at some examples that were used in the news interview that we saw earlier. Now the exchange student said, "I'll have a Sprite, please." Do you know what "ll" is in this sentence? Yeah, that's right, it's will. So you can see that the W and the I have been taken away and they've been replaced with an apostrophe. I'll. Now, how would you contract this sentence? I had cooked before my parents got home. Yeah, that's right. I'd cooked before my parents got home. Did you notice how much faster I sounded when I used the contraction? Now I want you to say the uncontracted sentence after me. I had cooked before my parents got home. It's your turn. Nice job. Okay, now let's try the contracted sentence and see if you spoke any faster. I'd cooked before my parents got home. Your turn. Great job. I'm sure you're already speaking faster. So you're probably sitting at home thinking, but Ollie, how do I know which words I can contract? And truth is, there are so many that I would be here for days telling you every single contraction. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some common ones that we use every day in English. Because, 'cause. Another, nother. Going to, gonna. How did or how would, how'd. Quiz time. Do you know how we'd contract these? Would not have. Wouldn't have. Why did? Why'd. Example, I wouldn't have done that if I were you. Why'd you do that? So my second tip for you to use to get you speaking English faster is to link the words. And if this isn't your first time here, you have probably seen Ethan, Andrea, and now me talk about connected speech quite a lot. And that's because us natives use connected speech so we don't have to pronounce word for word. We can make our speech continuous by linking words and sounds together, which is known as connected speech. Now, do you often feel frustrated when you don't know how to use connected speech or you don't understand fast-speaking natives? Then I highly recommend our Fluent with Friends course. In this 48-week course, you're going to learn with the first 2 seasons of Friends. Each week, you'll receive PDF power lessons, vocabulary memorization software, lifetime access to our Fluency Circle global community, and so much more. And do you know what the best thing about this is? You can try it absolutely free with our 3-part masterclass. To get started today, all you need to do is click up here or down in the description below. So you might find it difficult to understand fast-speaking natives when you aren't too sure about what words and sounds link together. So when we ask questions, we quite often link the words together. So what I recommend you do is learn the question as a chunk. And that way you'll be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only will you be able to practice the connected speech, but you might also learn some new vocabulary and sentence structure. Here at Real Life English, we're big on guiding you beyond the classroom, so let's practice some questions that use connected speech. So I'm going to say the sentence and then I'm going to show you where it links and then we're going to practice together, alright? But first, I want to show you what it sounds like without linking the words together. And then I'm going to show you what it sounds like when I do link the words together, and you're going to recognize that when I link my words together, I actually sound a lot faster. Number 1, what have you been up to? What have you been up to? Did you notice how I actually sounded a lot quicker when I linked the words together? In this sentence, you'll notice that I reduced have to of. What have you? Sentence number 2. What would you do? What would you do? Did you notice how I linked would and you? Would you? Sentence number 3. Did you arrive late? Did you arrive late? Did you notice how I connected the final D on did with Y in you? Did you? Okay, now it's time to practice with me. I'm going to say it and then I want you to repeat. What have you been up to? What would you do? Did you arrive late? Now, if you find that a little difficult, there's an exercise called backchaining. So instead of pronouncing the words from start to finish, you're actually going to reverse it or flip it around, and you're going to say the last word and then slowly build up. Let's take a look at how that works. So the sentence, "Where do you come from?" sounds like this. Backchaining goes like this. From. Come from. D'you come from? Where'd you come from? You can see that when we do this exercise, we start with the last word of the sentence and slowly work our way up to the first word of the sentence. And that way, you're going to build the confidence to be able to use connected speech when you talk. In sum, if you can learn questions as chunks, you're going to be able to speak quicker as you'll learn the linking words when you learn the questions. And actually, we've made a great lesson on how you can ask questions like a native. When you're done with this lesson, make sure you check it out by clicking up here or down in the description below. So my third tip to get you speaking faster is to emphasize the most important words. You might remember at the start of this lesson that I said English is a stress-timed language. It's the fact that English is a stress-timed language, meaning stressed syllables follow a certain rhythm and unstressed syllables are incorporated to fit that rhythm. In fact, did you know that music is a great way to learn rhythm? We have a great playlist over on our Learn English with TV series page. To check out that playlist next, you can click up here or down in the description below. Now, do you remember the story about the exchange student at the start of this lesson? There were a couple of sentences where I expressed some stress. Listen to this sentence without stress. He was shocked to realize. I pretty much stressed every word, but in English, in fact, we don't do that. Listen again. He was shocked to realize. Which words do you think I stressed? Yeah, that's right. I stressed shocked and realize. A great way of trying to understand which words are stressed is by knowing which words are content words and which words are function words. Content words refer to those words that have meaning. So in my example, shocked and realize have meaning. And function words are the words that don't have meaning. For example, was and to. So I didn't stress was or to. I actually reduced them to was and to. He was shocked to realize. However, content words and function words are not set in stone, so the speaker can decide which words they wish to emphasize. So let's look at another example from the news report. He was given a large fries. Which words do you think I stressed here? Yeah, that's right. I stressed given and fries. Now listen to me change the content and function words and see if it changes the meaning. He was given a large fries. In this sentence, the stress is on was and large, and this is used to emphasize that the exchange student was actually given the large fries. Okay, so do you remember at the start of the lesson I said I have a special surprise for you? Well, we're now going to have a conversation. You're going to duo me, so I want you to say the sentences where it says you. First, we're going to do it without contractions. And then in the second part, we're going to highlight the contractions, where things are connected, and the stressed words in the sentence. So are you ready? Let's go. Have you heard the news about the guy who was hospitalized because of some fries? Yeah, that is crazy. I do not know. I guess I would just throw them away. What about you? Yeah, that sounds about right. Are you allergic to anything? I'm gonna give you 15 seconds, and I want you to think where the words would connect, link, and the stress of the sentence. Let's do it one more time, but this time I want you to connect, link, and stress the words that you see in the different colors. Red is a contraction, orange is a link, purple is stress, and pink is reduced stress. Have you heard the news about the guy who was hospitalized because of some fries? Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. I guess I would just throw them away. What about you? Yeah, that sounds about right. Are you allergic to anything? So I want to thank you for joining me in today's lesson. I hope these tips will be able to guide you beyond the classroom where you can start living your English and speaking faster, just like us natives. Don't forget to support me and the team at Real Life English by hitting that subscribe button and the bell down below so you don't miss any of our weekly lessons. See you next time.
Interviewers usually have a lot of experience and can see right through dishonesty. And this is why it is so important to practice, so you can accurately help them to get to know you and show that you really are the best person for the position.